Hi everybody, my name is Ashley and today I'll be talking to you guys about um, my diagnosis of type 1 diabetes as well as how I've managed it through the years. So the difference between type 1 and type 2 diabetes, there's two different types. Type 1 is genetic. It can happen like if your parents have it or your relatives have it, you can get it, or it can just be completely random, which is what happened in my case because nobody in my family has type 1 diabetes except for me. Type 2 can also be somewhat genetic, but it also has to do with like lifestyle and stuff. So when I was 9 years old, I started getting like really weird symptoms. Like I lost a bunch of weight. I started drinking a bunch of water, and I just felt sick like a lot of the times. And so my mom took me to the doctor. The doctor coming back into the room, and the look on his face. I shouldn't be laughing about this, but it's just kind of funny to think back. Like, he walked in and he was like, basically like, oh, bad news. Which is so funny to me. I don't know why, but basically he said that I needed to go to the hospital right now because my blood sugar was around 700 when it's supposed to be around 100. So that's not good at all. So I went home, I packed a weekend bag, and then my parents took me to the hospital, which was terrifying for me at 9 years old because I was horrified of hospitals and needles, not to mention, but we'll get to that in a minute. So another thing that I really remember about being in the hospital was that they had to teach my parents and I how to manage my diabetes. So most of this fell on them at the time because I was 9. I didn't really know how to manage this stuff by myself, so we had to learn how to count carbs and how to like give myself my shots, like where I could get them. So you can do your arms, your thighs, your stomach. Yeah, so they basically told me that I would have to give myself about 4 to 5 shots a day, which little 9-year-old me was not too happy about. I remember being at home that night after being at the hospital for that weekend and having to test my blood sugar without the help of the nurses for the first time. I had this new little glucose monitor that I had to try and figure out. So I remember sitting with my mom, we were trying to figure out this tiny little machine. So I have to prick my fingers a lot, which I have calluses on my fingers from doing now. It used to hurt a lot at first, but I mean now most of the time I can hardly feel it. So in the years following my diagnosis, I learned how to manage things a lot better, and it was kind of difficult. Like when I would be away at school, I couldn't have the help of my parents to give me insulin. The first like week or two that I had gone back to school after being diagnosed, my parents had to come up to the school every day at lunch to give me my insulin because the school didn't really know how to handle it either. I was like pretty much the only diabetic student that they had to, I guess, deal with at the time because I was 9. And so yeah, I didn't do my own shots for the first few years because I was scared to. I didn't know how. I still remember the first time I did my own shots because it was before school one morning. I was sitting there. I wanted to do it, myself. I wanted to learn how to do it myself. I wanted to be able to be more independent. I just remember sitting there crying because I was so scared to do it. I was so scared to just, like, I had the needle, I was fine. I'd gotten the shots millions of times before, but I was so scared to do it myself because I didn't know that I would be able to do it. I didn't know that, I thought that it would hurt more if I did it rather than my parents doing it for me, because, I don't know, when you're 9 or 10 years old, I mean, your parents do everything perfectly, right? So I was terrified, but eventually I did it. I remember feeling extremely proud of myself for something that may not seem like that big of a deal to others, but like I'd said before, I was terrified of needles. So inflicting that on myself was something that took a lot for me. And I know I'm sounding very dramatic about all this, and I agree. I think I am very dramatic about this because there are bigger problems in the world. I have bigger problems, but this is just something that I guess has just been such a huge part of my life. The hardest thing for me now is keeping myself motivated to count carbs and make sure I'm doing everything correctly, because sometimes I just don't care. I would be a very different person today if I didn't have diabetes, I think. I feel like now I can manage so much more, which again sounds very dramatic, acting like diabetes is some thing that's taking over every single aspect of my life, which, I mean, in a way it is, but in other ways, like, it's not that big of a deal. Like, there's worse things in the world. I'm honestly thankful that I have this problem rather than others, because other people have things way worse, and I'm still extremely fortunate, and I am a healthy person in most aspects of life, which is good. Sometimes it takes a autoimmune disease to see that you're strong, and that you can handle things, and that I guess kind of now I see that I have the ability to control my own health. And thank you guys for listening. I really appreciate it. And yeah, bye.